Have you ever had the experience that you have dreamt something so vividly, whether it be I was flying over a field, I happened to stop at a bus stop and there was this woman that had a cow on a leash with a polka dot tie, just really bizarre instances. Or maybe you've had instances where you have, over years spoken to a departed grandmother, a departed friend, even without meaning to. And they become so vivid. But when you wake up and you perhaps hear a knock on the door from your child that needs to have his lunch made for school, or you wake up and you remember, I need to get to that to-do, I need to pay this bill. And suddenly you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go answer the door, or I'm going to go make a mental to-do list on my never-ending list, and say to yourself, I'll come back to that dream a little bit later. But suddenly when you do, poof, the dream is gone. This is a really frustrating phenomenon that many go through, and it's because the person that was dreaming that dream of being able to really hear the soul's messages is very different to the personality that goes to work, that, goes on date nights, that has the ability to meet up with friends or pays the bills, you name it. These are very, very different aspects of yourself. And that's because when you are dreaming, it is the core soul aspect that is having the dream. Now, after many decades of teaching dream interpretations, and then much later teaching it as an aspect of psychic mediumship, I have really come to understand that dreams are not random. They are deep soul messages from your true spiritual self, the essence of who you are. They're not something special that only a few people have. Indeed, these are actually the birthright and the aspects of why you came to Earth. When you are able to feel these dreams and soul messages and interpret them for your life, it is like being your own personal psychic. What I want to talk to you today about this podcast is that when you understand how they are such powerful intuition channels, and when you understand how to activate them, you are being able to enter in the greatest intuitive, profound anchor point in your life. I'm going to tell you today how there are really 3 sets of dreams that we all have, no matter if you're a graphic designer, a salesman, an engineer, or a practicing psychic medium like myself. I have taught hundreds of students how to do this. I've even taught psychic detectives how to use their dreams in order to establish clues, break cold cases, or simply get the next clue for the case. This is not a theory of, hey, you have to be deep into mysticism, or you have to be into the woo-woo, or you have to be able to be spiritual. No, actually, dreams are the greatest source for anyone, wherever you are in your spiritual journey, to understand 2 very core aspects. 1, you are a divine soul being, and 2, these are messages for your human life. That's what I'd like to talk to you about today. So sit tight and let's get into it. Really, what is happening when you go to sleep is a shift of awareness and a shift of consciousness. As I said before, that person that pays the bills and goes out shopping and leads a beautiful human life is the personality side of who you are. It is your projection onto the world stage. It is ruled by your conscious mind, and it is the ambassador of your soul. The person that has the dream and the aspect of you that has the dream is the core divine soul that is having an experience that is completely separate to the conscious mind. Each night when we fall asleep, and maybe some of you have really experienced this, when you are about to drift, just as you are drifting off into sleep, your conscious personality mind is firmly set to the side. What enters into the dream world is the subconscious mind, the soul being that is actively having that dream. And in essence, you are transporting yourself and aspects of yourself through time and space and through dimensions. The soul who is having that dream of speaking to grandma, or seeing the cow with a polka dot tie, or flying over fields, or entering into a house that they've never seen, or even sometimes that I love to hear about students going into their old childhood home that I haven't been into, but still they're an adult. That is the divine soul aspect that is having this dream. And when you awake, and you remember it fleetingly, but go to the bathroom and come back, the reason why you can't remember it is that self has then slipped through that, what some refer to as the veil, what some refer to as the time and space, others so refer to it as the void. We have slipped into a other state of awareness and consciousness, and a different state of time and space, a different dimension, if you will. And so actually day in, day out, you experience that. But in a dream and in a sleep state, it is practically done for you. People who are intuitive understand how to do this, and specifically when they're in touch with their intuitive capabilities. But they have to work really hard to get there. They have to work really hard to shift their awareness, to enter a subconscious state, in a waking state. But when you sleep each night, it is done for you. People who I really respect and admire, like the likes and the ilk of Edgar Cayce, they used to refer to dream studies and the dream state as a shadow of death. And the reason is because when you are a divine soul being and you enter a sleep state, you are the closest to your natural, limitless, true divine state as you would be if you would quote unquote die a physical death. As you have heard me talk about time and time again, we do die a physical death, but our soul, our core essence, lives on limitlessly and has experienced incarnations over hundreds of years. And so when you are in that sleep state, you are connected by what some refer to as the silver cord, what some refer to as that divine tether that connects you to the body. But when you are in a dream state, you are still connected to that body, but you have the ability to go anywhere at any time in any space and dimension that you so choose. And so it's a little bit of a reprieve for the soul, actually, because let's face it, Earth and the schoolhouse of Earth can be divinely challenging to be able to live a human life that you love and understand. And so this concept of being able to go into the subconscious soul mind state is for the ability for your soul to drop messages of love, to drop messages and guides and hints about what should be your next step. And I really mean this from the full spectrum. I mean from how to be able to pay that bill that you're worried about to what is my divine purpose here as a human. They are the divine soul wisdom that you have access to each and every night. Let me explain to you a little bit about what dreams, these kind of categories that I spoke about before. In essence, we have 3 categories to be able to define what types of dreams we have. The first one is emotional and psychological. These are direct insights for your human life, challenges, relationships, growth opportunities. This shows us what we're learning in our soul group even, and it's specific lessons that we're targeting in this incarnation. Often you'll see in a dream that an emotional or psychological aspect can be connected to our soul group because we were here to be able to experience specific things with soul groups. We do incarnate with soul groups, but sometimes they're even about emotional or psychological issues that you are still carrying with you from the age of 10 or 12 or 15 or even 37. There is no time and space. It is not linear what the soul is able to retrieve for you to gain insight on emotional or psychological aspects. The second is an aspect that I like to call physical dreams. And these are the ones that actually can give us divine, very practical insight about what we perhaps are ignoring about our health, or real deep kind of like, hey, you better have a look at this, or aspects of perhaps in your human life, you're working on your diet, you're working on exercise, you're working on, hip pain, you name it. In your dreams, you can have physical dreams to give you hints or to give you nudges about how to approach them and how to make it better. These are physical dreams. And the third that I want to dive into are spiritual and soul dreams, where this is anything where it is showing you direct soul gifts that you have, to being able to meet up with guides to give you information about what it is your soul came and was meant to do in this human incarnation. These are also spiritual dreams where we meet up with departed loved ones. I've had students come through my dream mentorship program where I teach people how really to extract and interpret and extrapolate this divine wisdom that happens each and every night you go to sleep. And so I've had individuals where they've learned how to do this and they've used my dream interpretation lexicon that I think now is teetering on the edge of 100 pages, where you are able to look and see about past life incarnation in a dream, where you were able to see soul gifts that you were meant to experience and live out to help you and serve others. I've had individuals, myself included, where they've had entire sequences of past life experiences in a dream where maybe the dream sequence is in linear kind of human time, 15 minutes, but what you experience in a dream could be something that is like 3 and 4 chapters of a past incarnation that you had in France. By the way, that's a real true story from yours truly. And so these are interesting, educational soul experience dreams that are deeply spiritual. When you wake up from them, you really feel as if you have been in a different time and space, and that's because you have. Our spirit guides can rock up in dreams. They can show themselves as Native American Indians, as Tibetan monks, as, the shades and the colors of Lemurian or Atlantean times, you name it. And why is that? That's because their ability to come near to us, just like our departed loved ones, is so much more easier for them to reach us because we are in the deep subconscious soul mind state. It really is a different dimension of time and space, and it is a different level of consciousness. And that's why it's much easier for them to be able to reach us in those sorts of instances. The fourth one that I kind of like to add on there is the concept of a lucid dream or lucidity in dreaming. Now, lucid dreams, as many of you know, are ones where you, and perhaps you've experienced it, where suddenly in the dream, and it could be like in the, in the second chapter of the dream or deep into the sequence of the dream, or perhaps in the beginning, you become acutely aware that you are dreaming. And you have the ability at that point to control, in quotations, the outcome of the dream, the direction of where you're headed. These are incredible states of awareness. And many of you listening today would have probably had a few experiences with lucid dreams. And I like to add a little shade to that, which is sometimes it's not just a lucid dream. Sometimes it's more of lucidity in dreaming, where suddenly you realize you are dreaming and maybe you don't take the next step of wanting to or even able to control it, but you realize you are dreaming. And then suddenly the story continues to unfold and you allow it to take it where it needs to. And maybe the lucidity decreases as a dream unfolds, but it could be little spots where you are aware. I have found with my students and my own personal experiences that often happens when departed loved ones are able to reach us in dreams. Suddenly we realize we're dreaming, and it's not like, oh, hey, I'm dreaming. It's more of like little clues where it's like, wait a second, you're not supposed to be here. I thought you were physically dead. And in that moment, we realize, okay, something is more to this story. Something deeper is going on that I can't quite grasp in this moment. And that's when lucidity happens in dreams. And that's when we become aware that we are dreaming, that we are the dreamer, or we become aware of the people in the dream are reaching us from the ability that goes beyond physical limitations. And so when you really look at the lucidity and dreaming, we can also see profound spiritual mechanics at work. This is really what's happening when you begin to study the practical sides of dream awareness and the ability to interpret your dreams. You're starting to understand that consciousness is a muscle that needs to be trained. And the more that we use it and the stronger we become at being aware at different levels and states of consciousness, the deeper our dreams go. Now, I've really had a experience with my students who've come to me to learn dream interpretation, or even to learn it for their own psychic mediumship practice, or as I spoke previously, to help them solve clues about murders or cold cases or missing persons as a psychic detective. It's really that when you start to really train yourself on the core aspects of what dream interpretation is, it's like a valve opens. Because suddenly the soul becomes aware, okay, this human is really using these 8 hours at night, these 5 hours at night to really hear the guidance now. So I'm going to open up this channel more and more and more. And then you really start to hit into where you're having each night dreams that unfold that are deeply profound and really help you on your journey. And I mean that in the greatest sense of the word. I've had students come to me where they're like, Claire, haven't remembered a dream in years, or they're always scattered, Claire, or I'm not really sure how to do it. And when I teach them my framework that I've been able to polish over the years of study, even going back to my own high school experiences and reading Freud and Jung, is that the dreams, after a couple of nights, for some people, maybe it's, a week or two, they like, it's like a valve is opened and the dreams are every single night, really sophisticated, very nuanced, complete chapters start to unfold, where when they can really see it and feel the emotion behind it and start to learn to use the dream interpretation framework as well as the symbols, they are training their states of awareness, and they are training themselves to hear their soul's highest messages. And this is why when you really start to get coming to the understanding of what it means to be able to do this, you become really your best psychic. Now, being a psychic medium like myself is one of the greatest honors there is, and our role is as a deeply sacred one. But when you start to really understand dreams, and when you really get into it and start to be able to take it and then integrate it into your human life, because the true message here is that the soul came here very intentionally for a human life. It came to learn lessons, it came to face challenges, and it came to experience the beauty that is available to all of us in the earth and with the family of man. Maybe deeply challenging for us sometimes, and certainly in current times can really cause us to really want to strive to see the beauty in our lives. But that is why we came, and that is why our intention of coming. And so when you begin to extrapolate these themes and apply them to your life, you really, really start to be your best psychic. And you really start to have a deep, more cohesion between the body, the soul, and the spirit. And it really starts to unfold in such a life that when you can apply these themes that come through for you, and again, from the practical to the nuance to the deeply spiritual, it profoundly impacts all aspects of your life. Because these dream studies and interpretations have been going on throughout the ages, right? They have been Egyptian studies of it. The Aztecs revered dreams. Individuals have revered dreams. Scientific, spiritual have written about them. This is really part of the dream story that we as individuals can tap into each night. And so one thing that I want to give you today is, where can you start? Perhaps you are an individual that have the ability to remember their dreams. Perhaps you are not. And I have to tell you, in the beginning, if you keep it really simple, you can start to really touch upon these areas that become important for remembering dreams. And it begins with just keeping a dream journal next to your bed. Really run to the dollar store, run to your next convenience store, buy a notebook for $1, €1, you name it. Put it next to your bed with a pen. And when you rise in the morning, before you move the body at all, because remember, you're still kind of teetering on that soul, mind, subconscious state before you wake up and fully enter the personality conscious state, write down in bullet points the dream. And tell the bullet points in a story, because it is the story of your soul. And then once you have that, then get up and begin your life, because you can come back later and then read the bullet points again and be able to write down the full story. And don't be surprised, this has probably happened to many of you, that you're in the grocery store hours later after you wake up, or you're at your job typing an email, or you're driving to pick up the kids, you name it, and suddenly a scene from the dream comes back to you. That's a phenomenon known as dream association. And these are the hints that can come throughout the day, and they are stronger, and they become more frequent when you get those bullet points down, that allow you to go back to the dream and allow you to get it down. Because for a lot of people, remembering our dreams is difficult, right? It's a bit of a sensory overload. And so when we simply put the dream journal next to us, we have the ability to write it down in the morning, and we're starting to train the muscle. And this is the way that, our dreams will then, as I talked about before, about the valve opening, this is where the stream of dreams will also come to unfold. Because again, we're just building cohesion between what is the soul mind, what is the soul trying to drop its wisdom, and how is the human living their life. And so it's like starting an engine. It's like, producing cohesion between those two things, which ultimately is the goal. And so when you really remember this, the truth behind it, and when you start to see it unfold in your dreams, you can then really go to the next levels of what you want to do, right? Whether it's to find out, how many soul lives have I lived? How can I get answers about maybe some physical ailments I'm going through? How do I find better relations with my partner, with my children, with my mother-in-law, with my father, you name it. All of those things are there for you. It is profound guidance. And so really the insights that I want to make sure that you come away with today is that dreams are not random. They are very intentional. It's about the soul's communication. Sometimes dreams are a little bit about reviewing, right? Not all dreams can be something where you have to like sit and really scratch your head and say, oh my God, what is this? What is this? I will tell you from teaching many people about their dreams, most dreams are, but yes, there are some that are just, it's almost like pulling up the dredges at the bottom of the lake. You're just reviewing things. They are designed to give the human life that you are living profound guidance. And the ability to receive and interpret soul messages through dreams is your birthright. I'm going to repeat that again. Developing the ability to find the spiritual and soul guidance within your dreams is your birthright. And that's because when you are a soul being having a human experience and not the other way around. You came here to live a very intentional human life, but your soul is in charge and your soul is the core intention behind doing any of this. And so being able to tap into those soul messages each night allows you to lead a life that has direction, that has purpose, and is deeply profound. The thing that I want you to walk away with also from this podcast is that dreams are a deeply profound channel of intuition, and it can really transform your life within days and over months and then over years. I've had individuals come back to me after 2 years of mentorship and been able to say, Claire, every time I go back and read that portfolio that you made for me about all of our dreams, I still find insight. I'm still reminded about things. And that's because these are divine intuitive messages that are timeless. And so if you want to be able to learn a little bit about what are my dreams, what are they saying, how do dreams represent a powerful source of intuition, I want to make sure that your eyes are on a free masterclass called Intuition Activation that I produced for my clients, for my students, anyone interested in my work, where in the latter half of the masterclass, I talk about how to specifically a kind of quick flow framework, if you will, not the whole framework, but a quick flow framework for you to be able to use today to be able to extract messages and interpret deep soul wisdom from your dreams. I give an example of dreams in that masterclass and I unpack it in front of everybody in the teaching. I show them what are the key symbols, what are the real kind of like deeper ones for interpretation, what are the more minor ones that's really the soul just trying to clue them in. And how do you weave this together in order to tell the story of the soul? I really show in that class how it's a profound channel of intuition and about how learning about your dreams can really impact all aspects of your life. And so I invite you to go over. I'm going to make sure that I put the link down here in the show notes so that you can see it from this podcast. And I invite you to go get that dream journal because you're going to see that it has the ability to activate an intuition channel that is divinely connected to your soul, that is your birthright, and is specific individualized messaging for you. So I want to thank you for listening today. I encourage you to go and make sure that you tap into those divine soul messages and let me know what you come up with. I love hearing about people, embarking first on their dreams. I love hearing them. Maybe you're a nuanced dream pioneer and you have aspects that you want to ask me about lucidity or lucid dreaming, or maybe perhaps you've always wondered why you have a recurring dream. Drop it in the comments if you want to. Send me an email. I'm very happy to. Start today. These divine soul messages are your birthright. Thanks for listening.